We are now moving into special briefing items, and trustees, I know this is on for special briefing. I would recommend, if you're willing, that we might move this also to board action this evening. So special briefing, so we'll go through the details, but I think we've all been prepped on this item with our water reports. So Dr. Swift, do you want to start us off?
Thank you, Madam President and trustees. We are pleased this evening to bring this recommendation for the purchase of 200 certified lead filtered hydration stations. This will bring our buildings to that goal of 1 per 100 occupants in the building. You will note that in some of our buildings, the machines are recessed. The gentlemen are here to answer your questions. In lay language, I would just say it requires a lot more specialized machine to be in a recessed area. So you can see those are significantly more. Thankfully, we only need 30 of those. The total cost, $224,566. I do want to remind you, trustees, that we are estimating, although I want to be clear, there is no way to truly estimate until they get into these installations. So they will be putting out a bid for the labor, and so that has not been included this evening. We intend for our team to bring that on November 28th, but this proposal this evening will get the stations ordered, so then it can put out the RFP for the labor. Trustees, just as an aside, they tell us that on average it takes a plumber a full day to install one of these. And certainly if they get into complications, it can go much longer. And whenever I hear that projects go longer, that only spells one thing to me, which is money. So I just want you to know, when we said 1.1 to 1.3 million, that is purely an estimate on the part of our team. They're estimating between $1,000 and $5,000 for installation each, but that does not mean they might not run into difficulty and it might cost more. So what we'll do is agree to update you on a regular basis with about the cost of that. Our gentlemen are here for questions, and I just want to acknowledge them publicly. They have both been doing everything from meeting with parents to meeting with me and fielding literally 100 questions every day from principals and teachers and parents and all of us who are saying, hello, I have a question about the water. So I just want to acknowledge them because they're holding up, and yet I know we have pressed them beyond what it is reasonable to ask of a team, and I just need to say that publicly. Thank you, and we're ready for your questions.
Trustees? Trustee Gaynor?
You can explain why recessed stations cost like 2.5 times more than the standard ones?
Honestly, I don't know exactly why they cost more. I just know that those are the cooperative pricing that's available to us.
After we receive them, they may be able to see.
Trustee Bascott.
I think I can understand why they cost more, but why do we need them in some places versus others?
So the easiest installation for us is 1-for-1 replacement. So
right.
If we have one that's mounted on the wall and not recessed, putting one back that is of that style. The recessed ones are often used in places where one sticking out from the wall would be an obstruction, like in a say the corridor leading into a gymnasium right next to a door. If it were to stick out, it would be an obstruction and people would run into it. So they're often used in places where you don't have the space for it to come out into the hallway.
Well, wouldn't we have a water fountain that's sticking out already?
No, it would be a recessed water fountain that's in there currently.
I see. Okay. So wherever we probably have recessed water fountains is where we probably need a recessed hydration system.
Correct.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? And again, I think trustees are expecting this, and so.
Right. I do have a question. So we're looking at Ferguson Plumbing Supply of Ann Arbor.
Correct.
And you mentioned at a cooperative purchase pricing. I think I know what that means. But could you review for our public what that means? And did we look at other companies?
We did look at other companies, and this was the significantly lower than other pricing that was available. There are various purchasing cooperatives, both at the state level and at the national level, that essentially solicit pricing from vendors on behalf of public agencies, and then if we're eligible and members of the cooperative, then we can purchase through that. So we don't have to bid every single thing. They've already done that, and we pull that pricing from those prior bids.
Trustee Kelly?
And so I understand this is an equipment purchase. Will we expect to see a second action item on a contract for labor?
Yes.
On the 28th of November.
Thank you.
All right.
May I,
Yes.
before you leave this, trustees, I wondered if Mr. Lautzana, Mr. Dimitriou might address the question raised earlier. I know the hour is late, but this is critical, and that is why it is that it is not the best idea to shut the fountain off or to put a garbage bag over the faucet. That is an important component, and if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So our plumbing systems are full of dead ends, and at the end of every dead end, if you will, is some sort of an outlet, whether it's an outdoor spigot or a faucet or any number of devices. Plumbing systems are not designed with dead ends intentionally, because that becomes a place, if the system were to drain out, that then you would have an air pocket and you're not able to bleed the air out of the system. And if you have a plumbing system that knocks and makes noises, often that's air trapped in the system that hasn't been able to get out. That's why we don't design with dead ends. If we were to create a dead end, it creates a pocket of stagnant water. And as we know, stagnant water accumulates lead over time. So we're creating, in that dead end, we've then created potentially water with a high level of lead in it, and then if there is a depressurization situation and that water will to flow back in to the system, you might then receive high levels of lead at other points in the system that are open. And certainly shutting down an entire building is a very drastic step that has lots of implications for the longevity of the system, for the stagnation issues, and then bringing that system back up online is very problematic.
Thank you, Mr. Lautzana. In our previous years of testing, trustees, we have a large number, in fact, I would say a majority of our fixtures that tested at non-detect. And so we want to keep our system open and flowing and working. Certainly respective folks prefer to drink out of the hydration station. We want them to do that, but we are advising against garbage bagging a fixture. It just isn't the best way to go about it at this point, and we will very quickly have testing results, and we can make those decisions at that point in a more information-informed way. I would just hate to see schools who don't have an issue develop an issue,
Right.
because we have this kind of activity going on. Thank you.
I believe we will add this to board action for this evening. All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.